Welcome back. We're continuing our videos on different asset management concepts. And in this video, what we're going to do is discuss the concept of the degradation curve. The degradation curve is pretty straightforward. What this tells us is over time, the condition of an asset is going to degrade. And when we plot out that condition over time, what we end up with is a curve. It's not linear. So what does happen is the buildings slowly degrade over time, and then as they get older, they start to degrade faster, hence a curve. So what this chart is showing is as the condition of the asset goes down over time, and it starts off in excellent condition, and then at the very end, it's in very poor condition. What we can do are different types of maintenance or different types of projects, and those are on the right-hand side. So in the beginning, it's like when you buy a new car, you do nothing. Like maybe you're cleaning it, you're changing the oil once or twice a year, and that's pretty much it. And then after a couple of years with that car, you have to start doing some other types of maintenance. You got to get the brakes done. Maybe there's some belts that need to be replaced. But after a number of years, the routine maintenance is no longer sufficient. So now we are crossing the threshold from fair to poor, and we can see on the right-hand side that the thing that we need to do now is rehabilitate. So if it is a car, you're doing extensive replacement of key systems. If this is a building, you're thinking of this is the time where you replace the roof and your HVAC systems and you upgrade your electricity. This is where that happens. And at the very end, we look at your condition now and is very poor, and now you're thinking about replacing. And this happens when you have your car is now 15 years old, and you realize that it'll take more money to fix the car than the car is actually worth. And so, what we want to see here is once we look at this crossover from fair to poor, you see that there's a dotted line going up. And what this indicates is that we've done a project and we have invested in an asset, and in doing so, we have improved the condition so that instead of it being at the threshold from fair to poor, we've now bumped it back up to excellent, and we are back at our first stage in this paradigm. Now, we're going to look at the same thing, but from a slightly different approach. So here we have a similar thing. We have our degradation curve, and we have our intervention threshold. So on the previous slide, that would have been that crossover from fair to poor. And what we have additionally on this slide are different types of maintenance strategies. So the first one we can see is a time-based preventative maintenance. And so that is when you have scheduled maintenance, and it doesn't matter if the asset needs this maintenance or not. It's on a schedule, it's getting this maintenance. And we can see there are a lot of interventions that just do a little bit. And doing that, we can keep that asset in perfect condition over time. The next type of strategy is you actually wait for the asset to degrade a little bit, and then you have a condition-based preventative maintenance. So you wait for a special threshold to be reached, and when that condition threshold is reached, then you have a project, and this project is going to be larger than the project from time-based maintenance, and it bumps up the condition, and then you can see it degrades over time. Now, there are fewer, in this time period, there are only 3 interventions, whereas the time-based one has more interventions. And then the next type of maintenance strategy is essential maintenance. And so we wait until a special, even lower intervention threshold is reached, and then we do one big whopper of a project. And it may never actually get back to the original perfect condition, that's fine. And then we see that this degrades over time. And so in this case, we're only doing one project. And the last one is do minimum and service restrictions. So that is health and safety stuff. So if there is a building that we know we're getting rid of, we're not going to plan out a major rehabilitation. We're going to do the base minimum to make sure that we meet safety codes, such as the fire code. If people have to go in there, it still needs to be safe, even though if you're not planning on replacing the air conditioning systems. And so what we can do with these different types of preventative maintenance strategies is plot out different types of degradation curves for assets over time. So I hope this makes sense. The key thing to remember is the degradation curve affects all of our assets. Different assets have different types of curves, and different types of intervention strategies or maintenance strategies affect both the cost associated to the total cost of ownership of that asset, and it also affects the amount of money you have in year looking for different types of budgets, and it affects the predicted condition of that asset over time. So that's it for this. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.